Welcome to Celebrating Our Food and Telling Stories of It. I am Sophie, your host and producer, and this is Our Food Stories, the podcast for us and by us. Episode 15. Aside from it being delicious, what does eating chicken mean to you? A few weeks back, I read an essay about fried chicken. The writer was talking about how, despite the fact that fried chicken is now known and eaten globally, very few people know its history, which is entrenched in, and I quote, race and the violent, egregious exploitation of Black Americans. I will leave a link to the essay in the podcast notes. This essay made me think about how chicken means different things to different groups of people all over the world. Today's story is about chicken, and special guest Claire talks to us about the significance of eating and sharing this bird among the Bukonzo people. By the time you finish this story, you will have learned something new and you will be intrigued by how a simple dish can symbolize so much.
Hi, my name is Clare Muhindo. I am a Bukonzo hailing from Kasese district in western Uganda. I was born and raised in a village called Kaserengete in Bwera ward of Mpondwe-Lubiriha Town Council. Today, I'm going to tell you a story about a tradition that has been treasured among the Bukonzo for ages. That's the tradition of Omughongo as a sign of brotherhood. But before I go into the detail of the story, Omughongo is simply the back of a chicken. Among the Bukonzo, friendship was considered a form of brotherhood. This means that all your parents' friends were also your parents. You know it takes a village to raise a child. So we called them mama or tata, and not uncles or aunties, as is the case today. In simple terms, mama meaning mother and tata meaning father. Yeah, this depended on the gender of the person you were referring to. How was this brotherhood cemented among families or between families? This is how it was done. If I paid a visit to a friend and the friend slaughtered a chicken, it was considered a serious sign of friendship. Among the Bukonzo, chicken is treasured. So every family had some chicken they kept in the home. That means you had like 1 or 2 chicken or even more. Some had more than 2, but there had to be a chicken in the home that you would slaughter for the visitors. So if I visited someone or my uncles, in other words, my other parents, if I visited them, they would then send the children to run after the chicken, which we reared on a free-range system. The children would run after the chicken, and then someone would slaughter the chicken, and it would be prepared for the visitor. But this chicken was not prepared the ordinary way. It was prepared in a special way for the visitor, and it would be served with obundu. Obundu is our traditional meal, and this maybe, let me just call it cassava kalo because I do not know the English name for it. Some people have called it tapioca, some people have called it cassava bread. I honestly do not know what it's called in English, so I'm going to call it cassava kalo because I want to assume that the word kalo is very familiar. So one may ask what was special about this chicken, yeah? Like I said, chicken is something very ordinary to many of you, but among us, the Bukonzo, chicken was treasured. So this chicken, after the children have run after it and caught it, it would be prepared in a very, very special way. Right from the point of slaughtering, the chicken was cut in such a way that the back of the chicken running all the way from the neck to the bottom, that bottom part is called, that sharp pointed part of the chicken. In Lukonzo, it's called a kasunguvete. So you would cut the chicken in such a way that the back running all the way from the neck to the kasunguvete is not tampered with. And also, the back holds certain internal organs of any animal, even a human being. The back holds is that strength that keeps together some internal organs. So the back would be cut with those other internal organs and left. It would be left intact with its liver, the heart. I can't remember the other part, but those things that are in there. So it would be left intact and put in the saucepan, prepared alongside all the other parts which have been cut normally. So it should be prepared specially for this visitor. So once the chicken was prepared and ready to be eaten, it would be served to the guest. It would be served whole. Everything that was put in the saucepan would be served to the guest, put in a dish and served to the guest. So it would be served to you with everything in it, of course, without the intestines, head, and the legs. Yeah, this was a sign that the chicken was specially prepared for you. How would you know that the chicken was specially prepared for you? That is, if it had the muongo and echisalia. Echisalia is a gizzard. A chicken has only one gizzard, right? So if you have a gizzard and your muongo, that was a confirmation that yes, this family prepared this chicken for you, the visitor. So once you were done eating, I think I've missed one detail. So this chicken has been served to you with your muongo and the chisalia and everything else, a sign that it was specially prepared for you. But now, here's the catch. Yes, everything was served, prepared for you, but you were never, ever supposed to tamper with the back, because the back was not for you, the visitor. The back was for you to take back home to the people that you left there. So if you ate everything in the dish and forgot to leave the back, you would have broken tradition. Anyway, so once you were done eating, the back would be wrapped properly for you to take back home. It shouldn't just be wrapped in any way. I know that someone on this podcast shared about indanda. This muongo would be wrapped in form of indanda, and this is how they wrapped indanda. You'd get a young banana leaf. Young banana leaves are virgin. They are not torn. They don't have any cracks on them. They're very plain and smooth. So you would put this banana leaf on the fire, soften it, and then wrap this back of a chicken for this person to take home. So the back of a chicken would be just the back running from the neck to the bottom with the liver, the heart, and other small things that, the back holds together. So you, the visitor, you'd be given that muongo to take back home to the people that you left home. And once you got home, you would then hand over the muongo to your father. So if you were given a muongo to carry back home, on top of being served your food, your chicken, with echisalia, it was a sign that the chicken was indeed slaughtered purposely for you. So what you did in appreciation of the hospitality, you were required to give the host one part of the chicken. In particular, you would give the host the wing. This was called omutecho. Now, that was like a sign of cementing the friendship, because then everyone has shared on this chicken, not just you, the visitor, but the host and the people that you left home. Now, here's the catch. The children of the host home would not eat on that wing. They would only eat the head, intestines, and the legs. In most cases, they preferred to roast and eat these parts. They would eat them with so much excitement. I remember when we were growing up, if they gave us the head, intestines, and the legs, would just be so excited. Would go and roast them and then eat. It was so much fun. Oh, nostalgia. Those were just the good old days, and sometimes I think about them and I just miss them. But also, did I mention that chicken was specifically prepared for men, not women? Traditionally, women were not supposed to eat chicken. So, as I'm telling you the story, they were not supposed to slaughter for me a chicken. But if I visited with my brothers or any other male person, they would definitely slaughter for us a chicken. Oh, the patriarchy. Anyway, so you'd have to carry this muongo this special package and take it back home in form of indanda. Hand it over to your father, who would then unwrap it and say, mukaenda luira. And this meant that you visited like a real Bukonzo, like this is how things are supposed to be done. So the next time the other family visited, the gesture would be reciprocated, and then the friendship and the bond would become stronger because sharing is caring, sharing is loving. And that is how us among the Bukonzo showed our care, our love, and brotherhood, sisterhood, or whatever you may call it. Now, so when this Omughongo was brought back home, wrapped in its banana leaf, it would be handed over to the father, who would then distribute it amongst all members of the family, everyone that would have stayed at home. So it was never to be eaten by one person, but a meal that was meant to be shared by everyone, meaning that everyone got to taste on that one single chicken. I remember there was a time when my father received this Omughongo and distributed it to about close to 15 members of the household. 15, on one little bag. So no one else in the home would distribute this except the head of the home. So that was how the friendship, brotherhood was cemented and strengthened among the Bukonzo through food, through sharing chicken. So as you can see, everyone has tasted in this chicken. The people in the host home, you, the person who visited, the people that you left back home, everyone has tasted this chicken. And that is the story of Omughongo. But do you guys think I've told you the whole story? Do people have different experiences with the Omughongo? I wanted to know how other people experienced or dealt with the issue of Omughongo. So I asked a question on our family WhatsApp platform. I just wanted to see what people had to say about it. So when I posted the question, my father explained everything just like I have. But then he mentioned one thing. Unfortunately, due to the .com era, and I'm quoting him verbatim, unfortunately, due to the .com era, people do not understand this tradition. Some do not even know how to cut the chicken to provide for the back. Some do not even know what it means. Can you imagine? My boys were one day given the Omughongo to take home, but because they didn't know what it meant, they sat on it on the way home and ate everything. When they got back home, they told me, hey, Dad, they gave us wakatu Omughongo, but we ate it and finished everything because we know that this home has very many people, and if we got here, you would share it among everyone and wouldn't even get to enjoy. So one of the boys said, whenever we get here, you distribute this Omughongo amongst everyone and we just eat a small piece. So why not just eat our meat? Why not just eat our meat? And when we get home, we will tell them that we ate our meat this time round. So I'm not so sure which one of my brothers mooted this idea, but I was looking at my brothers with squinted eyes yesterday because how did you stop us from enjoying our package? Anyway, so again, on the same conversation, my auntie said, I once escorted someone to Chondo. Chondo is a village in Kasese. This man was introducing his wife to his family after their wedding. They served us chicken and they badly wanted to eat because I was very hungry. Now the man opened the dish and first assessed it for two things. He was looking for a chisalia and a Omughongo. And Omughongo, when he did not find them in the dish, he couldn't eat. He told us, let us first wait. He called the mother in that family and asked, but was this chicken really ours? Two important things are missing. The chicken was complete, and I felt like he was delaying us from enjoying our chicken. The lady said, let me go back and see. When she returned, she came back with a Omughongo and chisalia with lots of apologies. That is when I realized that those two parts were very important, especially in relationships like those. Now, my uncle also said, I also remember how almost the whole chicken would be served to one or two guests while we were eating beans on the other side. The irony. So those were just the experiences I got from the group, but I also learned that this tradition has been carried on to date, and whenever there is Erisungo Muhara means a kuchala, if I should say. That is what people mostly call it these days. But that introduction before the wedding, whenever that function happens, chicken is prepared and Omughongo is prepared and sent back home to the groom. This is because among the Bukonzo, the groom does not attend this function. And if he attends, the Mughongo is sent back to the parents. And if the parents attend the ceremony, they will pack the Mughongo and carry it to those at home. Basically, you just can't eat the back whenever it's served to you. It is supposed to be carried and taken back home to anyone that you left at home. You can't just eat the back of a chicken whenever it's served to you. I just had to make sure that I resound this. So if you ever have a ceremony or an event with a Bukonzo and they slaughtered for you a chicken, just know you're not supposed to eat the back of the chicken. Supposed to have it wrapped and packed for you to take back home to anyone that you left home. My young brother asked, why the back though? The back has no meat at all, to be honest. What is the significance of the back in these relationships? And the answer is simple. On every mammo, it is the back that supports the other organs. Thus, in the Bukonzo tradition, the back signifies the backbone of a relationship. That makes a relationship stronger. That which holds a relationship together. So I hope you've learned a thing or two about my culture, and I'm really grateful that you have listened to it till the end. Thank you for listening, and subscribe to this podcast. I think Sophia has started a good initiative.
Thank you, Claire, for this detailed description of Omughongo. This story reminds me of an uncle who slaughtered a chicken for me a few years back when I visited his home. And I was in utter disbelief because, just like Claire said, chicken is not meant to be eaten by women. So I felt very honored by that gesture. I want you to leave a comment on this episode and let us know what part of the story you enjoyed the most, and if you have a similar tradition when it comes to serving food. Claire is a journalist, media scholar, and social media manager, and you can reach her at ccmuhindo@gmail.com to inquire about her services. She is also on Twitter at Miss Muhindo. Remember, if you have a delicious food story that you would like to share, you can reach out to me via email at akitcheninuganda@gmail.com or on Instagram at akitcheninuganda. Don't forget to share the podcast with others, to leave a review or a rating, and to comment on your favorite stories wherever you listen. Doing so helps us push these stories to even more listeners. See you in the next episode.